right, and so we just click there, and who used to say that? And I don't know right now. Anyway, good morning to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to Wncr-Tv Now. 25 minutes past 8 o'clock hour this morning. Don't forget you can share the Facebook Live video on your page, and you don't have to share it while we're live. How about that? You can share it at any given time so that people will know about the show. How about that? You can help disseminate information throughout the community by doing your part. People say, hey, what can I do to help? You can share the Facebook Live video. That will help get information out to people so that they will be aware of what is going on in our community as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. I say it is a Juneteenth Eve, as tomorrow is the 19th day of June, and a day that the federal government, after a number of years, has set aside to recognize Juneteenth, and a situation of the slaves knowing in Galveston, Texas, that, hey, you ain't got to work for free no more. You ain't got to work for free no more. And that you would have access to things as others have had in the country. And later on, they found out that they didn't. And so they had to fight and get moved into a civil rights movement and other things that happened throughout our country for the advancement of African Americans or black folk. And so here we are today. In 2025, celebrating Juneteenth, but understanding there is many different inequities that still exist throughout our country, and we've got to work. We got to continue to work and allow others to see that their support in aiding into true, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna say appreciation, value, respect. I can use a lot of different adjectives that I think I'm looking for a word, and then it's just come at. So, and it's a lived experience. And so I think that, one, you have to be willing to have a conversation with a person who identifies as black, so you can their shared, their lived experience versus what you may think it is or what it should be or what or whatever in that situation. So that's something that I would talk about, I guess, and tomorrow, while tomorrow being the day that we've set aside to honor that on the federal level. But also we do know, just like many other holidays now, there are a lot of organizations that don't close down and things of that nature because people are needing this and needing that. And so I get it. I get it. It is 2 minutes before the 8:30 hour this morning. Of course, it is Wednesday, so it's Weekly Joy with Eki, as she is now in the studio as well. This morning, I will say good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy Wednesday. How are you?
Happy Wednesday to you as well. I am super fantastic.
Super fantastic. I love that shirt.
Thank you much. Thank you much. No, when people say it that much, I normally say I'm still paying on. I'm still paying on.
It has a very, you familiar with the fabric mudcloth?
No, educate me.
It's an African,
Okay.
I would say West African fabric, I believe. And I'll send you like a clip of it.
Okay.
But yeah, it has that type of pattern, that tribal pattern.
Wow.
Mudcloth. Yeah, it's a traditional fabric.
So sometimes we'll be wearing things or doing things we have no understanding as to what it is.
Mudcloth.
Mudcloth.
Yeah.
Well, I
It's
appreciate
like a
that.
woven fabric. You're welcome.
Any Juneteenth events for you?
Oh, I'm going to the concert
Okay.
tomorrow, so I'm excited to do that. And then I have a friend singing in Raleigh, so I'm going to support her as well. It's my birthday weekend. So
Okay. Well, happy early birthday to you.
Thank you.
Indeed,
Yeah,
indeed.
yeah, it's going to be great.
So you got some good stuff for us on today.
I do. Hope everyone is doing good, feeling good, excited to share Weekly Joy today. So we are live on all platforms, and I'm going to jump right in. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Last week, if you didn't get to check it, I talked about accountability, finding joy through accountability. So I just want to dive into that, touch it a little bit. Accountability means taking responsibility for your actions and decisions and being willing to own them, whether the outcome is good or bad. So taking responsibility. So I just want to drop that little gem. But today we are going to talk about finding joy through inspiration. And I love this word because inspiration is everywhere. So what's a definition for inspiration? It's something or someone that sparks new ideas, creativity, or motivation. It's what lights a fire in you to do or become something greater, right? So that kind of joy that wakes up your spirit when you wake up reminds you of your why and makes you feel alive again. So let's get into it. My core message for today is inspiration is powerful. Tap in, tap in. It's that quiet whisper or that big aha moment that tells you to keep going. You're meant for more. We're all here meant for more. So sometimes it comes from a song, a stranger's kindness, a piece of art, or someone simply living boldly and freely. It's a reminder that greatness still exists, and greatness is in you all, and it lives in you too. So finding joy through inspiration is realizing that life is always offering you a spark. So the question is, are you open to receive it? Life is always offering you a spark. So I want to leave you with a question as I go into more for y'all to reflect on, and feel free to answer, message in the comments, whatever you want to do, or give me a holler. Who or what has inspired you lately? And what did it awaken in you? So who or what has inspired you lately? And what did it awaken in you? So I'm going to come back to that, okay? Finding joy through inspiration. I'm going to leave you with 3 simple reminders. Inspiration is all over the place. It's everywhere. Look at it in small things, a sunrise, a deep conversation, listening to Bronson here, you get inspired. A child dancing with no fear. So just stay open. So that's the first one. Inspiration is everywhere. I'm going to tell you a quick story. For me, I find inspiration, and I know that I'm tapped in to inspiration when, I don't know if y'all have, it's synchronicity happens to me a lot. So I could be listening to your show and you may say a word like power, and I literally just finish writing the word power daily. And I have family and friends, they see that. I'm like, look, it happened. So I get really excited. If that happens to y'all too, that knows that you are tapped in, okay? So inspiration is everywhere. That's number 1. The second one is let inspiration move you to action. Don't just feel it. Do something about it. Don't sit in that fear. Push through. Fruits of the Spirit. Let's get into it. Journal the idea. Send a message. Start the vision. Start the vision. Number 3, you are someone's inspiration. Yes, each and every one of you. Your journey, your light, your truth. Someone out there needed to see you keep going. They need to see you keep going. And that is very powerful. So some closing thoughts are inspiration is a gift from God, a gift from the Most High. It fuels our joy, reminds us of our purpose, and calls us to rise. So let it pour in and let it push you forward. So Bronson, I'm going to ask you that question. Who or what has inspired you lately, and what did it awaken in you?
Yeah, to your point, I think I'm inspired often, right? And
Yes,
so that is
absolutely.
interesting. But, I just think more people involvement where I see people are waking up and asking questions, not realizing, hey, maybe I have kind of been stuck in this thought process. And so that says, hey, the work that I've engaged in over the years is seeming to have some impact. And so when you see the results of your work, that gives you inspiration to continue to go on. And so conversation that once happened one way is starting to happen with an awakened mind. And so I think that is that's great. And so it continues
I love
inspiring.
that, an awakened mind. You definitely inspired many, many, many people.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Can I close with an
Absolutely.
affirmation? My affirmation for today is I am open to divine inspiration. I allow what lights me up, and my life is a source of joy, creativity, and purpose. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
And again, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Right.
Appreciate it.
It is. What time is it? It's 35 minutes past 8 o'clock hour this morning on Wncr-Tv Now as we continue to talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. Want to let you know, of course, we talked about it yesterday, and then I saw a post pop up on Facebook, and that is there's going to be a special call Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners meeting on June the 23rd at 6 p.m. Chairman Leonard Wiggins has called a special call meeting of the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners to be held on Monday, June the 23rd in the Commissioners Room on the second floor in the Administrative Building at 201 St. Andrew Street in Tarboro. The purpose of the meeting is to consider the approval of the fiscal year 2026 budget, the approval of fiscal year 2025 budget amendments, approval of contracts and contract amendments, approval of revisions to the county fee schedule, and a fire tax increase for Harrison Battleboro Fire District. Citizens with questions about this meeting may contact Tammy Faison, the clerk to the board, at 252-641-7834. That's 252-641-7834 is the number. Of course, they'll be talking about or approving the Edgecombe County budget. That budget, of course, I told you yesterday, had a public hearing on June the 2nd. Sometimes you got to make a little beat to get the thought process out as to what you're looking for there. And talking about the Edgecombe County budget, we'll kind of look at something related to it, which is called and that's something, of course, the budget message. And all budgets in North Carolina has to have a budget message. But this is the budget message for Edgecombe County from County Manager Eric Evans. This was delivered on May the 29th, and it was the budget recommendations for fiscal year 2025-2026. And it says, I am pleased to request the recommended Edgecombe County budget for fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2025, and ending on June the 30th, 2026. The budget is balanced in its entirety as required by the North Carolina Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act. We have approached the preparation of this budget with the following goals in mind: to avoid adding new positions unless absolutely necessary, address critical capital needs, minimize fund balance use, evaluate assets and seek efficiencies, analyze immediate and future budget drivers, use debt strategically, align discretionary funding with the Getting Off the List initiative, follow board-adopted fiscal policies, and ensure the budget reflects board priorities. Budget overview. The proposed ad valorem tax rate for fiscal year 2026 is 89 cents per $100 in valuation, which is no change from the current tax rate. 1 cent of the tax rate generates $444,625 in revenue. The county's proposed budget for fiscal year 2026 is $82,664,851. The proposed budget is an increase of nearly $1.9 million, or 2.5% from the original budget of the current year. The proposed budget includes a fund balance appropriation of $10,667,101. This is an increase of about $2.5 million from the current year's original fund balance appropriation. And so they look at their revenue highlights. As for Representation's budget message, our ad valorem tax collection rate the current year was 94.5. We anticipate that at the close of the current fiscal year, our collection rate will be about 96%. Our property tax value for the projection are based on a total valuation of $4,446,235,933, including all real property, personal property, public utilities, and motor vehicles. This is an increase of $67 million in ad valorem from last year. At the 89-cent tax rate, we anticipate a collection rate of 96% for real property and 100% for motor vehicles. The projected revenue available will be $38,184,645. We are projecting $37.4 million in ad valorem tax revenue, which represents approximately 56% of our total general fund revenue. Sales tax is our second largest revenue stream, 16%. Sales tax revenues increased by approximately 4% each year from fiscal year 2020 to fiscal year 2024. Though current year-to-date sales tax revenues are expected to meet the budget, we are below what we collected at the same time last fiscal year. Therefore, we have budgeted total sales tax revenue for fiscal year 2026 for a total of $10,400,000. The expenses for the Edgecombe County budget includes a 2% COLA, or cost of living adjustment. The implementation of a COLA is about $684,000. Another critical component to the compensation plan, their health benefits. Edgecombe County is self-insured, and therefore our costs are driven by our own claims. And due to an increase of claims over the last 2 years, we need to increase our premiums by 6% to ensure that we can adequately maintain sufficient appropriation in our health insurance fund, to cover the claims. The health plan will continue to include health savings accounts options for those who are selecting high deductible plans. The health savings plan includes a $750 contribution by the county. We'll also continue to provide health screenings for individuals covered under our plan. Individuals who choose not to participate in the screening will pay $53 per month towards the cost of their insurance. And it talks about everything they get as it relates to that. Fiscal year 2026, we have placed 41 positions from 3 departments in reserve. These are positions that are needed for optimal service provisions, but have remained open for some time. Therefore, to mitigate the amount to fund balance needed, we have not budgeted these for fiscal year 2026. We will monitor needs of these positions and revisit the appropriation of funds if needed. There are 9 new positions requested by 5 of our department heads. There's justification for adding these positions as they would improve the service provision and advance the mission of the county. However, we are not in a financial position to add any new positions at this time. I do recommend that we reconsider these in the future. And so, of course, you look at their capital outlay budget there. It says the budget includes a minimum appropriation of new capital outlay expenditures for the county. We have budgeted an ongoing installment of previous purchase capitals totaling $176,894 from the general fund. This compares to the original capital outlay budget for 2025 of $1,088,402. And so to meet the critical needs and leverage the NC need-based critical fund, to leverage NC need-based school capital fund, for major projects at North Edgecombe High, and to preserve cash flow, we propose the county's debt capacity. To use the county's debt capacity, the county is considering finance of several facility improvements and equipment and vehicle purchases totaling $4.5 million. Financing for facilities at 2.4, vehicles at 1.3, solid waste at $725,000, and a 5% match for the North Edgecombe project, which is $3.2 million. And of course, they anticipate seeking approval from the local government commission for the loan for the to cover the facility. They also expect to seek approval from a loan to meet the county's $3.2 million match for the $64 million grant for the North Edgecombe School project. I believe that's the K-12 project. And then outside agencies represent about $21 million of the county's budget, which is about 5.2 above what was allocated in the current year, including $200,000 in discretionary funding for Getting Out the List initiative. The total recommended outside funding budget is $15.8 million, a slight decrease from of $2,056 from fiscal year 2025. All right, as you learn, we went over those programs. Is it 4 or 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 programs. We talked about our programs a couple of years ago. Then, of course, got enterprise funds. So again, here's a conclusion there that it says the staff and then will continue to work diligently to serve the citizens and advance our vision for Edgecombe County being a historic place that values the citizens and natural resource and creates opportunity where people are proud to live, work, and play for generations to come. But that's a budget message, of course. In the budget itself, it gets down to the weeds of what things are as it relates to the budget. But again, the county commissioners will have a special call meeting on June the 23rd. I believe that is at 6 p.m. Is that not correct? 6 p.m. Yep, 6 p.m. in the county commissioners room, where they will vote to adopt the budget and do a couple other things on that day at 6 p.m. in Tarboro, North Carolina. That's an update on the Edgecombe County budget as well. Want to say good morning to the following folk who tuned in. That includes Allison Williams, Alice Bailey, Gwendolyn Swain, Tim Jones, Irma Maxwell, Deborah Gunter, Vernice Harris, Betty Archambault, Alice Bailey, SRS Matters, Candy Staten, Gloria Brake, Deborah Gunn. Oh, she said happy birthday, Eki. Okay. Let's see. Did it Melinda Ingram and Waylene. I got to get it pronounced your name again, so I want to say it correctly. Okay. So good morning to you as well. Thank you for tuning in to WNCR-TV Now as we continue to talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. And let me see if he wanted to call in today. Roy Gray wanted to talk about the redistricting meeting that's set for the 24th, I do believe, of June. Let me see if I can find it somewhere right here. Yeah. No, that's for that meeting. Anyway, they're having 4 meetings with that. And I know it's in a text message or email or something. Okay, maybe it's right here. Yep, there it is. Okay, yep, it's Tuesday, June the 24th at D.S. Johnson School at 6 p.m. And he wanted to call in and talk about the importance of that meeting. And so basically the Board of Education for Edgecombe County has put out there 2 different options for a proposed redistricting plan. Of course, the school board has to redistrict because of the demerger of the Nash and Edgecombe County Public Schools that happened last year. And what is good about Edgecombe County is Edgecombe County commissioners didn't run up to Raleigh and say, Raleigh, the school board shouldn't have to redistrict itself. So Edgecombe County commissioners gave and continue to have its local elected school body to be able to draw their own maps. Unlike Nash County, which their maps are drawn by the Nash County commissioners. So however the commissioners draw their districts, they will be identical to the school board districts. So when folks get in meetings in 2025 and talk about we shouldn't be telling the school system what to do, I went through 4 years of commissioners telling the school system exactly what they were going to do, how they were going to do it, and if they didn't like it, they can shut up and get out. Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did, and let me see. Let me see if it's still here. I don't see why it wouldn't be here. Maybe not. Yeah, but it should be this right here. Nope. That ain't it. But anyway, I was trying to find. Oh, it's right here. I have a great filing system. It's called Don't Move It. It's called Don't Move It. You'll never lose it. But this was. Does this have a date on it? Yeah, February 20. It's February 24 of 2020, and this was a presentation done by the Edgecombe County Superintendent of Public Schools. At that time, and of course you can't cry for water under a bridge, but the fourth slide, you have a title slide, and then you have what the outcomes are. So they're setting you up and say, hey, we want to be able to share our current reality. We want to provide an overview of assumptions and options, and we want to outline items for consideration. And then by the time the second slide got there, it just gave basically an agenda as to who was going to facilitate what conversation in the process. And then the fourth slide gave an overview. And this slide says that we know the decision to bring our school system together is significant, and there will be many considerations. Best case scenarios, and this is in bold, and I wish I could show it to you. And actually I can take a picture of it. But best case scenario, leave it like it is. What are the benefits? Less disruptive to Edgecombe County public schools and Rocky Mount students and families, no cost to renovate and redesign buildings, and no planning time or cost required. That was the fourth slide of this presentation that was done on February the 24th, 2020. And again, it is what it is today, but I'm just reminded about that when I hear commissioners, they say we shouldn't be telling the school system what to do, but that's exactly what they've been working on since 2016. Caller, good morning, on the air.
Good morning, sir. I was calling just to make sure that I could listen to your program.
Oh, well, go ahead and talk about the meeting on the 24th.
Yes, great. Well, what I want to do, well, let me introduce you. I'm Pastor Roy Gray. I live in Tarboro, but I pastor in Wilmington, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to reach out to my colleagues in the pastoring here in Edgecombe County to say that if we could say something to our congregation on Sunday morning prior to the school board meeting on Tuesday. This is the future of our children. This is the future of the county. So because of bringing those 9,400 residents out of Rocky Mount into the Edgecombe County school system, which will consist of probably 1,700 students in the Edgecombe County school system, that process makes Edgecombe County about 56% black. And Rocky Mount need to have representation on the Edgecombe County School Board, to more representation, because we have some representation, but more representation of the different communities in Rocky Mount. And so there's been a community group that has been put in place, and they've been studying this process, and meetings have taken place. We've had 2 public hearings already, one in North Edgecombe High School, one in Tarboro High School, and now the next one is coming up on the 24th, will be at D.S. Johnson, and the last one will be at Southwest Edgecombe High School. And on the 29th, I think I might got that date wrong.
30th.
But 30th. On the 30th, mm-hmm. Right, okay. So we want to get the word out to everybody for our children's future, that the new school board that will go in place after this redistricting plan takes place, that will benefit us for the future because of the new school board district that will be drawn. And the school board has done a really good job of being transparent on getting all of the stuff that they've been doing. But they picked 2 maps. One is map C, which we are advocating that's the one we want because it keeps community together. So those Rocky Mount communities will be in a Rocky Mount School Board district. And it puts the people in Brattleboro, Whitakers, and Leggett. It keeps those communities together. And it keeps a lot of portions. Tarboro is what Tarboro is going to be. And so, but around Edgecombe County, Pine Top area, those communities will stay together. So we need all the help we can get.
Absolutely. And then people can go to the Board of Education website of Edgecombe County, look at those map options and that thing. And, of course, they can sign up to speak at those meetings and talk about the advocacy for various map options. That's what the purpose of the meeting is.
Right. And so the public meeting at D.S. Johnson School on Tuesday night, if you want to speak, you need to be there by 5:45. You need to put your name on the list. Mm-hmm. By 45, and there's no set number of speakers. There is a time limit on how you can speak, but there's no set number on speakers.
Okay. And I would ask that maybe you call us back on that Monday, the 23rd, to remind us again about the meeting.
Right, but I want to remind pastors this weekend, this Sunday.
That's right.
Bring it up in at your church on Sunday morning to say send people out, because guess what? Things happen when parents show up. Mm-hmm. And parents, we need all the parents that we can get to be at DS Johnson because me and my wife put 6 children through the Tarver school system, and I made sure that I was there for my kids and whenever they needed me, and make sure that their report card was what they needed to be. And that's what we need parents now to say. And as parents, if you can't be there, send somebody on your behalf. Matter of fact, send your children. D.S. Johnson School on the 24th.
There you go. And again, they don't have to have children to participate in the process because the voting is for every registered voter in Edgecombe County.
They can stand with the speakers from the Rocky Mountain District. When they go to the podium, the children can stand to the podium with them. Their children might not be able to speak, but they can stand with the speaker from that podium to show that support and to show that representation.
And the involvement. Absolutely. We appreciate you, Pastor Gray.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
You take care. Again, June 24th, 24th, I was right. 23rd is the Edgecombe County Commissioners meeting. The 24th is the redistricting meeting here in Rocky Mount at D.S. Johnson Elementary School. Again, that meeting is starting at 6 p.m. Here in the city of Rocky Mount. Hey, caller, good morning on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Brunson.
Good morning.
I'd like to clarify something that I said yesterday when I was talking about Tim Barnes.
Okay.
And I made the comment that the residents in Ward 3 probably don't have nothing. And I didn't mean it social economically. I was talking about representation. So I don't want anyone to think that I was, talking about their social living or economic standards, financial. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I wanted to talk about, the building that you pay your utilities at. Mm-hmm. You're coming in off Franklin Street, am I not correct?
That's Franklin. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if you want to go through the drive-through, they have it blocked. Why?
I don't know, but it is blocked. That is correct. You have to go through Pearl Street.
They need to change that. Most people come down Franklin Street. I believe I did the one time that I had planned to pay through the drive-through. And by the time I got around to the drive-thru, of course, they had closed down. But somebody needs to tell us why they have it blocked, because it's inconvenient.
Now, I could take a guess at that. I could be completely wrong or completely right? Now I'm just thinking about traffic flow and patterns, that if you have a drive-through line that goes through the parking lot and other cars are trying to park and get out and do business inside the building, you got cars in the way, you won't be able to... it'll cause confusion. And so if you do block that off, you have the cars lined up. Because I have seen times where there's a whole line of people in the drive-through waiting to utilize and pay their utility bill or whatever thing they're doing with the city. So therefore, that traffic is outside the parking lot, which then would allow both places to have free and clear movement. So I can see why they did it in action and kind of thinking about it. But it could be completely wrong. So I don't know. So we can ask about the question.
In visualizing that parking lot, they can make a route that parking lot is big enough with cones. They use them down here at our event center so that people can utilize drive-through from Franklin Street. I'm just visualizing it because they have enough space that they can do something. But I wish they would get a surveyor or engineer or somebody to actually look at it, because it's very inconvenient. And I do understand what you're saying. I hadn't thought about that. But I passed through there yesterday, and it just brought back the memory of the day that I was trying to pay my utilities, while I was in the area, and all the confusion of the streets, which was one way. Mm-hmm. It's just a mess. But nevertheless, I wish that they would look at it as far as convenience, because most people do come down Franklin Street, and then they have to drive all the way around. And anyway, that's that. But thank you very much.
Thank you. 252-407-8432. That's 252-407-8432 is the number to participate in today's conversation as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. Let me see. So I was pulling up that building on Google Maps here. Somebody asked me something the other day. Said, "Have you Googled it yet?" I said, I have. I have. But so I'm looking at Franklin Street here, and so again, if you were to make it available for them to turn in this way. Now, again, when it was banking business, you really didn't have too much going on there. And not say that they didn't have too much banking business going on, but normally you don't have a whole line of people using drive-through at a banking situation. But I do know that oftentimes there do be lines and have been lines all down, what was that, Nash Street, when it was at the City Hall location. But again, if you're coming down Franklin Street and turning into here, and you're making that turn there to go into the drive-through, again, now you're going to create a situation where this car can't get out, that car can't get out. And the only way to, I ain't gonna say the only way, but a way of making that work, to your point, if you block that off and made it go through that way, but then you're gonna lose all that parking space there. And it's not oftentimes that the drive-through is full. I've seen the parking lot more utilized than the drive-through in many cases. So it would be that when you are going to plan ahead and say, wait a minute, if I'm going down Western, which is a one-way, I'm just going to take that turn there and go down Pearl and come up Nash side, and actually when you come on Pearl, you can turn right there and go in there, or when you're on Nash, you can go through the parking lot and get in that way. So you have two ways to get on that street. One would be coming down. Well, you can't come down. You got to go up Nash to get that way. Or Pearl is a two-way street, but Nash is a one-way. And I don't know. I mean, downtown. I don't know. Raleigh has a lot of not one-way streets. There are multiple, and there may be a situation where you got to go back and look at your traffic pattern there. Is it time to kind of no longer make a one-way streets? What are the benefits to that, the one-way and the multi-way streets? Because you do have a lot of people who from out of town who oftentimes drive down the wrong way of the street because they are one-way traffic. And so that might have worked in whenever it was, and it may be time to revisit that or keep it like it is. Again, it may be the best solution, as it ever mind of Edgecombe County Superintendent, is to leave it like it is. So changing for the sake of change isn't always good. But yeah, so yeah, I get it, and I think that was probably what it was, just in me thinking about that whole situation. But again, there's something to talk about. Now, what I thought about when she made the statement was, who owns this land here, and could you facilitate, some driveway there for Franklin Street access, where you could cut out here and go there, and you still have room for economic development. But again, I don't know who owns this land here. I don't know if it's a city or if it's some other person, but you could cut out a driveway there, meshed up there, so you can meet in there. So those who do want Franklin Street access, you could do it and still leave room for additional economic development in the future, or a park or whatever could go on that particular piece of green space there as well. But that's something to talk about with your downtown planning. Hey, caller, good morning.
Mr. Bronson, you said what I was about to call and say, and I decided I would call and say it. Mm-hmm. What about the vacant lot that's next to it? I mean, I bet you the city owns it.
Yeah, we could find out, but yeah.
But I wish they would consider it, and I'd like to send out a message this morning for those people who inbox me. Yeah, I'm shaking my head too. Yeah, I complain all the time, but at least somebody's listening because you inbox me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 252-407-8432. Let me look at Nash County GIS and see who actually owns that particular property. Well, first, let me see what the business center address is, because I don't know. Rocky Mount Business Center address. 224 Franklin. So there we go. 224 Franklin. So let's look at ownership here and see what that is for that particular space. Hey, caller, good morning, on the air.
Yes, Brother Bronson. How's it going?
Doing well. Hope you are.
I am. Look, you talking about the school earlier. I think that there could have been a way to have left things intact, but at the same time, find a way to equalize the funding. I think I could have been more willing to accept the flavor of it, but I still feel the best thing is what really took place. They're all home now, but I had strong concern with them paying more for a student to go over to Nash County than they were paying for their own students right there in Edgecombe County. So to me, they resolved that problem, and I commend Commissioner Wiggins in particular, because he was around the table when they didn't do what they should have done back in 92, 93. So he was there to correct it. What, almost 30 years later?
20, about 20. Yeah, well, that's the original conversation.
But he was still there to correct what they should have done back in 92, 93.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wiggins had been a county commissioner. I think he went on board, if I recall correctly, in 96, and Reverend Hines came on board in 98. I might go back and do my.
Well, the school merger bill was 91, 92.
Right, that I think I'm right on that with Hines and Wiggins.
Yeah,
some of the rest of them I might have to go back. I want to say Dr. Wilson on the school board. I think she came on the school board in 1990. So she
would have been around when it happened, but
anyway,
so I guess you can't. But
I think that they made the right choice, and maybe forever would no longer be an issue. And Reverend Gray did say earlier the percentage that the school is now black, but also back in 92, 93, D. Hall is dead in his grave now, but that's why he didn't really go strong to get those kids on the east side of Rocky Mount, because he knew then it would have changed the black population of the school system, and he didn't want it. And the truth was told, there was some black leadership on the Edgecombe County side of Rocky Mountain that didn't want it either. And that's how Lee was able to get away with it. But sometimes you just have to leave things into the hands of time, and time has taken care of this matter.
Yeah, but they still have funding issues. But thank you, sir. Yeah, so both school districts are still looking at how do they fund this and how do they fund that. That's going to be a never-changing situation. I'm trying to find. I must have skipped it. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, I know what I can do. I knew what I can do to break it faster. Yep. So I go here, and let me zoom into that parcel, which is right there. Okay, so then that'll put Franklin Street right there. Which then will put the ownership. So that piece of land is actually owned by First Baptist Church. So First Baptist Church is the owner of the piece of land in question. There, that's right beside the used to be the old Southern Bank, which is now the City Rocky Mounts Business and Collection Center. So that's what's there. Then, of course, like communities and school right there. So that would be First Baptist Church. And then they got a private easement in between that space. I wonder does that easement go along the whole side? It may be a utility easement. But anyway, so that's what we got there. Hey, caller, good morning.
I think the church would give them a right of way.
And thank you, Susan, for letting me know who owned it while I was sitting there looking it up, trying to find a location. But she had already told me. Maybe that would be a conversation with the church. But that's who owns it.
Yeah, I think that they would. I mean, they're not trying to buy it, just give them the right of way to use it. I really and truly do, because it is it is an inconvenience. Thank you.
Thank you. So, yep. So that's that. So, figured that one out for today. And as it relates to the school system, again, as I always say, that the school system is what it is today, and so the county commissioners have to do what they said they were going to do, and that is to fund the schools and to be sure that all children are treated fairly and equitably during the process. And of course, you saw the other day when I shared the information with Nash County Public Schools, who are leaving the school system flat. And in some people's mind, that's not an increase, but in reality it is, because if you were funding, well, let me take that back. Let me think about that. And I get it. You say we keep it at $20 million. They got less children, less facilities, less staff. It virtually should be more money. But obviously the school system is saying that it's not, and they need $7.7 million and more dollars, which they originally anticipated a shortfall to be $10 million, and now it's at 7.7. I'm now trying to figure out, now in my head, how does that actually work? Because by nature, common sense would say 20 million, less kids, less facilities, you got more money per pupil. But the truth of the matter is, Nash County's per pupil expenditure was always recorded by the number of Nash County students. And so if Nash County was only, which they only was providing for Nash County students, it isn't an increase. So that's absolutely correct. And I really wouldn't care about the less bills and less stuff, because that money is not earned nor expensed. But the monies for the child or staff actually did not increase at all. And yet they said they would do more if they didn't have this Rocky Mount Nash County Public Schools, Nash Rocky Mount school system. And so in theory, Nash County commissioners, and I'll say this to them in their face probably next meeting, is that they did not give the school system more money and do more for the school. They may do it later on. I mean, that's besides the point. We're talking about the conversations being had during the budget process. Was the argument was trying to be articulated that it was you're doing more because you're keeping it flat with less facilities, and that's just not the truth. Because the funding number is actually represented by the per pupil allocation, the per student. We're going to set, i.e., $2,700 per student or whatever it is, right? Now, again, if their student population decreased from Nash County Public Schools, and what I mean by that, I mean a Nash County resident, not part of 1,700 kids. That's not, because what happened with the, let's be clear on the Fulman funding for the 1,700 kids, it used to be almost 2,000 kids, is that Edgecombe County paid their portion of whatever Nash County set the per pupil rate to be for their children. And then Rocky Mount, the city of Rocky Mount, paid the gap or the difference. And so if there was a $1,000 per year difference, Rocky Mount would then set aside and say, here is the money so that both children are getting paid the same thing for attending that particular school. So whatever that per pupil rate was, Nash County always got the money. So there was never a deficit. There was never a deficit. I want to be clear on that there was never a deficit of per pupil allocation for students who were living in East Rocky Mount who attended Nash County Public Schools. Now, I get the whole situation of we want to be one, each county take care of itself. That's why I still like how we talked about one time before, having a new county, 101st County, North Carolina, making it the county of Rocky Mount or Rocky Mount County. And having its own school district, its own everything. And so therefore you don't have this tract divide, because I think that there are still folks in our community that perpetuate the idea that we're going to continue to split Rocky Mount right down the railroad tracks. And I get it. It is that naturally by the county boundaries, but we need to start looking at a one city process. That is my thought. That is many thoughts that are shared by many in this community. And it is the more thought of the upcoming community and future leaders of our city. That they are tired of the back and forth of why one area of Rocky Mountain don't get something over another. And how do we start talking from the mindset that it's all one big city? And so, unfortunately or fortunately, or whatever word you want to use, that as the seasoned population is no longer walking this earth, and the upcoming younger population is not concerned about the battle scars and wounds that they had of personal agendas and fights, and oftentimes just pure ignorance and stupidity, my words, not anybody else's, is sometimes why we find ourselves where we are. And there's a thing of gradualism, as Dr. King talked about, the spirit of gradualism, getting away from that and gradually to come type situation. Just be patient, hold on. There has to be a deliberate approach and attack at whatever the issues and ills that we're facing in order to transform those current situations of desolation to a situation of true opportunity, economic development, empowerment. There has to be a true plan, true work, true follow-up to make those things realized. Again, my thoughts and some thoughts of others in that case. So again, thank you so much for tuning in to Wncr-Tv Now as we continue to talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. I will say that it is 9:16. It's time for me to get up out here. Today is Wednesday. Do check out Pop's Diner, 132 South Church Street, downtown Rocky Mount. And we'll be back with you tomorrow to do it all over again on a Juneteenth type of Thursday. A Juneteenth type of Thursday. Some organizations will be closed on tomorrow. Banks, I believe, are closed on tomorrow. It's a banking holiday because it's a federal holiday, and there are others who choose not to celebrate and honor the day that's considered a federal holiday, and they will still be employed. And I guess I'll say this in that. Is that truly the spirit of America? And truthfully, can America really close down completely for one day? Probably not. You still got essential things happening like police, fire, hospitals and things that nature would still have to work. There's never really a thing where everything can just stop. But I remember growing up, it seemed like there was more honor and reverence to the Dr. King Day. And so now it's like, oh, we'll be open today. Oh, yeah, we'll do it today. And it seems as though we are the greediness of this American capitalistic society. Don't take a day to just stop and reflect on whatever the reflection is, whether it be in January with bringing in and celebrating a new year, whether it be Dr. King and the work that he's done and others like him that was service oriented and bringing folks together. Valentine's Day is not a federal holiday, but as we continue to move on to other days like Good Friday and etc., do we really take time to really reflect on those moments? And is it those moments that really made us what we used to be and respect and honoring and value people because we had time to do self-reflection? Is it that we no longer have time for self-reflection? So it's now we live in this narcissistic society where it's all about me. It's all about I. It's all about the person that's in the mirror versus the person on the other side of the window. That's something to think about today as well. So we'll see you next time on WNCR-TV Now. Make it a great and fantastic. When and why did the split of Rocky Mount become National Edgecombe when Rocky Mount was created from Edgecombe? That was some years ago. So again, am I handy dandy filing here? And I read this actually before. Let me see where we can find. And this is thanks to the Phoenix Historical Society who created this book here that really detailed what it was. So 1871, it says that the same Democratic majority General Assembly that removed Governor Holden began to change the boundaries of electoral units to reduce African American representation, according to the black legislators in 1871. And in February of 1871, the North Carolina Senate passed a bill moving the Nash-Edgecombe boundary several miles east to the Wilmington and Weldon Railroad track. This divided Edgecombe County towns of Whitakers, Brattleboro, Rocky Mount, and Sharpsburg into two counties and transferred voters from majority black Edgecombe County, which had elected African Americans to office, into a majority white Nash County, which had never elected African Americans. This move also took half of Edgecombe County's tax revenue from the railroad and placed the Rocky Mount Mill, Edgecombe County's major industry and top taxpayer, in Nash County. Both the railroad and the mill were important markets for Edgecombe's cotton, still picked by black hands who now elected black and white Republicans into office in Edgecombe County. About 11,520 acres of land was taken from Edgecombe County and given to Nash for a token of a sum of $800. The Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners resolved that there is a scheme afoot in the legislature to change the county line between Edgecombe and Nash. The passage of such bill would be very unjust, and a large portion of the people in this county, and order our senators and representatives to use all influence against the passage of such bill. Even leading white elite Democrats in Edgecombe County, such as Judge George Howell, opposed the move, according to the Tarboro Southerner, which called it a selfish move, which the entirety of the people of Edgecombe condemns the dissenting vote with a dissenting vote. Over 500 Edgecombe County citizens signed a petition in protest of the NC House Representatives, which stated, "Never in the history of the legislation was an act attempted to be done which would still do much injustice to the people as that proposed in the bill under consideration if consummated. Respectfully and prayerfully submitted by the people of Edgecombe County." This is from the Edgecombe County Minutes of February 6, 1871 in the Tarboro Southerner, February 16, 1861, quoted by B.M. Bash Jr. and Bill Bourne when Edgecombe lost to Nash, the Tarboro Daily Southerner, the bicentennial edition of 1976. Black senators Henry Epps from Halifax County, George Price from New Hanover County, John Himes of Warren County opposed the bill, saying, "It will sever and divide the precincts, townships, and incorporated towns through which the railroad runs. It will create confusion and dissension among the people in that there is more than 1,000 miles of railroad running through different sections of North Carolina, and yet there is not another single mile of railroad in the state that is made as a dividing line between two counties." And the Senate, by direct vote, positively refused to allow the question of the transfer to be submitted to qualified voters, who are thus transferred from one county to another like livestock or dumb beasts on a farm. And so 1871 is when the land was moved. But of course, prior to that, to your point, Alfreda, Nash County was even larger of Edgecombe County, because Edgecombe County was the mothership county of North Carolina. Many counties came out of Edgecombe County, from Halifax, Martin, Bertie, some others there. But and again, some of the wording that is found in this book that's available by the Phoenix Society for, I forgot what the cost is, but they some of the words that was used as to what would happen then and even now, we are feeling the outcomes and the direct results of actions that were taken. Again, as I said, again, I was saying, it was my words of older leadership, and that was way older leadership then, who had some personal agendas for other things as it relates to our community. It was never really about the people. It had always been about dollars and cents for those, and ultimately representation in elected positions in bodies. And historically, and also true today, that is why there continues to be a disruption in the political process to discourage people to participate in the process, because folks understand that when everyone participates, you have a more equal or shared or understanding, or at least conversation in the room, to start making people think differently about the decisions, and perhaps even persuading people to do the right thing versus doing the most politically correct thing. And I think you have to have a strong sense of self, all right, a strong sense of self, to not be easily persuaded by folks who are having ulterior motives, narcissistic type ideas, and things of that nature. And unfortunately, I think some of the conditions that we find ourselves in this state, not just in this city, but in this state, comes from electing the type of people who really care nothing about you, just care about your temporary vote, and their actions will say that. And there may be those who say that about me. And obviously, if you look at the body of work that I've done, whether people say it exists or not, it's real. It's documented, as some folk would say, of the things that I've challenged over the years. And we've seen direct results of those challenges because for me, it is not about position or title. It is about doing the work. And when you see, though, people who are have position titles not doing the work, that is when you then need to step up to the plate and say, you know what, we've got to do something different. We've got to do something. And it's not about tearing people down to get ahead. It's about building folks up to get ahead. And that may sound pretty and cute or whatever folks may say, but it's reality. It's reality that too often we have lived in a society in which we think that we get ahead by knocking someone else down. And I get it, because really that's what your history books are teaching. You go to war, you fight, and you fight it till there's a bloodbath, and then you conquer the land, and that's what it is. But I truly believe also in Dr. King's philosophy in that you can truly work with everybody at the table for the betterment and advancement of all people. I think that is important. It is not a us versus them. It is how do we work this thing together to ensure that there's truly always brighter days and not desolate valleys on our horizon. That, I think, is the most prominent thing and a message that we could deliver through perpetuity, because I don't think we ever get to a place where we are just there. OK, it is my belief through my faith that you're only there upon death. And so until that time, there's still yet work to do. There's still conversation to be had. There's still growth and development to be realized. And the question is, how many of us are really willing to roll up our sleeves and put our foot to the plow, or put the key in the ignition, or open up the book, or pick up a pen and do the necessary work that's required of us to really change our current situation to truly what we want it to be. But the question is this too. Oftentimes, there's a greater situation within our communities that we don't know where we want to be because we don't engage in that conversation. And so at what point do we begin to start talking to each other again? Because I will say this, that I know through history that communities and towns grew because people were collectively involved. The lack of involvement will keep you stagnated. That is the reality. You have water just sitting in a bottle and nobody moving it around, it's going to stay still. But until there is that conversation, until there is that inner flowing, is when that water will start moving and agitating and cleaning clothes, essentially, because you can have water in a washing machine that just still will do nothing. Clothes will soak. Maybe some will go, but as you agitate that situation, it begins to really shake out all that dirt, that grime and things, and you can really come out even cleaner what you came in. And so that is a true thing here, that in our community, we got to start agitating those, what I would consider, metaphorically speaking, those dirty areas, those desolate areas, those areas where we don't see opportunity, where there's realized opportunity. And we got to agitate those situations, and we got to have direct targeting on how we're going to make this area better. And we've got to get over folks on this side of the aisle, or when I say aisle, I mean this area of our community, who says, don't put all your money here. But then the question is, why not? Because if we don't do the necessary work to fix this right here, where you're sitting at and living at today will soon look like that too. And so we've got to be very deliberate. We've got to be very targeted, and we've got to have a true plan to where we're going to go. And it's not where we never talk about Rocky Mount, where 7 elected officials say we should go. It is about where the 55,000 plus people in Rocky Mount say we need to be. This is not a singular situation. It must always involve the people who foots the bills, and that is the residents of Rocky Mount, North Carolina. That is the residents of Nash County. It is the residents of Edgecombe County. Those are the folk. We are the folk who foot the bills to ensure what happens in our community happens in our community. I'll see you tomorrow to do it all over again on Wncr-Tv Now, as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. But most importantly, I want to see you at Pop's Diner, 132 South Church Street, downtown Rocky Mount. We got those Philly cheesesteaks there now as well. Make it a great day.